What led you to become a resource officer?
What led me to become a resource officer? The chief of police approached me and he said that the school needed a resource officer and he wanted me to do it. At first, I was a little bit hesitant of it, and I told him that, well, basically, I told him I'd rather him fired me. And he said, just do me a favor and take a few days and think about it. So I did just that, took a few days. I thought about it and I prayed about it. And it turns out this was the right move for me. So I said, yeah, I'll do it. So here I am, 5 years later.
How do you balance law enforcement with mentoring and building relationships?
Mentoring, and man, you're asking me some hard ones here, Richard. So I'd say the main thing is when you're dealing with people, you got to treat them with respect. Treat people how you want to be treated. That's how I've always done it. You know, when I was on the road and now as a resource officer, without respect and without understanding, there's not going to be a relationship built.
What's your favorite type of donut?
My favorite type of donut, you would ask me that. Uh, it's really hard to beat a blueberry donut from Krispy Kreme's.
Who's your favorite student?
But if I had to choose a favorite, for obvious reasons, yeah, you're laughing like I'm going to say you, but for obvious reasons, I'm going to have to say my daughter because I mean she's my daughter.
Do you prefer to tase someone or mace them?
To do it to someone or for it to be done to me.
Do it to someone.
Okay, so I can speaking from experience because I've had both. I've been maced and I've been tased. I would rather use the taser. I'd rather use the taser because 5 seconds and it's over. Mace, you mace somebody, it has long lasting effects. It takes several days for it to get away, get out of your system, and it's on your skin for a long time and it burns for a long time. Now, when I'm dealing with people and I'm having to arrest a person, I don't want that mace on me because I don't want to have it burn me for days and affect the way I apprehend the person. If I get mace on me, it's going to affect how I do my job. But if I tase somebody, like I said, 5 seconds, it's over. We can get them cuffed, and it's a lot less painful for them. And I think it's honestly safer for everybody if we use the taser before the mace.
What's a typical day look like for a resource officer?
So even resource officer and law enforcement, there's really no typical day. Like people would use the term routine, like routine traffic stop. There's no such thing. But I will say, usually like in the mornings, I try to be out on different campuses, monitoring traffic and people when the kids are getting dropped off at school. Throughout the day, other than that, it's just spending time on campuses and just monitoring traffic and activity around the campuses, making sure everything is okay, nobody's here that ain't supposed to be. And at the end of the day, I'm monitoring traffic again, making sure the kids are getting on the bus safely. If something comes across that they need me, obviously I'll deal with that, but it's different every day.
What's your favorite community project that you're involved in?
Community projects. So recently, I have volunteered with Mrs. Wake at a Special Olympics event that she done, and I really really enjoyed that. So I think in the future, I'm probably going to be doing that a lot with her, helping out with all of her Special Olympics stuff.
What areas in our community do you think need the most improvement based on your experience?
So I'm going to say this: not just our community, but communities everywhere. I think would benefit from just showing each other respect, kindness, compassion, love, and just understanding each other. Um, there's always room for improvement, and no matter what you do. So to say one thing that needs to be improved on, I can't do that because if I point one thing out and say this is something that needs to be improved on, and we improve on that, well, there's going to be something else that we need to improve on after that. So there's always something that we can improve on.
What's the most positive memory from being on the police force?
On the police force or being the resource officer, just the police
Uh,
force itself.
yeah.
Okay. So years ago, I got a call. I was working the night shift. I got a call. a person sitting on the railroad tracks. So when I got the call, I just thought to myself, it's just somebody on the railroad tracks that's don't realize that they're not supposed to be on the railroad tracks. So when I get there, sure enough, he was sitting near the crossing, just sitting on the railroad tracks. So I yell at him, I tell him to come to me. He comes to me, no problem. And I'm talking to him, and I asked him what he was doing, and he didn't answer me. Well, about that time, a train whistle blew. The guy looked over his shoulder and looked back at the train. So I asked him, I said, "Was you waiting on that train?" He turned back, looked at me, tears in his eyes, and he told me that he was. So we discussed things, what he was going through, why he was waiting on a train, and we spent some time talking, and I was able to get him help that he needed. He admitted that he needed help, so I got him in contact with people, and we transported him somewhere and got him the help that he needed. And today he's doing well and very successful. So that was a good night for me.
What do police officers talk about whenever they like are parked window to window?
I guess that depends on what's going on. It's all kinds of stuff. We'll talk personal stuff. We'll talk business. It just a lot of times we're just talking about what we want for lunch. Just be honest with you. Or if you see cops sitting next to each other, it could have been after a call that we just went to, and we're debriefing ourselves, going over, hey, like could we have done something different? How did we do? That kind of thing. But most of the time, it's about food.
Who has been the biggest influence in your life?
I can't single out one person. I've had lots of people throughout my life that's influenced me positively, like a whole bunch. If I had to make a list for you, it's going to be a big list. It started off with my grandmother, my parents, my sister, my wife, even my kids. Like, there's been so many people that has influenced me positively throughout the years. It'd be so hard to say one single person.
What does it take to build trust with students who may feel nervous around police?
Being honest with them, and treating them with respect as well. We got to show them that we're not always an authoritative figure. Like, we're people too, and the students need to realize, as far as I'm concerned, is that they need to know that I'm here for them, and that I will do what I can to help them in any way that they need help. Um, just building that trust yeah. You just got to be respectful with them, and you got to let them know that, like, I'm not just a cop. I'm a person too, and that I care for them.
How do you prevent problems before they happen?
Definitely being a proactive officer. And what I mean by that is, if let's say I see somebody that I just kind of get the old spidey senses going, that maybe they're going through something and they're having a hard time, get with them, talk to them, talk it out, see what's going on, see if they are having a problem, and just try to figure things out before it becomes a problem, before they act out in a way. If, like, I can tell somebody might be having an issue with another student, um, maybe we can squash that before it actually get turned into a fight or they get in trouble. Another way of being proactive about a problem is, like, checking the doors, making sure the school's secure. If the doors are locked and school's secure, nobody's getting in. That would prevent a problem as well. Just being proactive, staying on top of things, making sure everything's secure.
How often are the situations that you deal with more mental health than an actual crime?
So I would say that the mental health is lower than the actual criminal activity. That's not to say we don't deal with mental health issues, because we do. And to be honest with you, some of the mental health issues will turn into criminal. So I mean, it's kind of a gray area there, I guess. But not all mental health issues are turn out to be criminal. We have gone on calls where they just needed help, and we're able to get them on the ambulance and get them help. But I would say the majority of things that we deal with would be criminal.
What should students know about legal consequences from online behavior?
Oh, they need to know everything about it. Unfortunately, I have found a lot of students don't realize how serious it is when they're on the internet. One of the most things that we have dealt with here when it comes to the internet and the students is we've dealt with a lot of cyberbullying, and we've also dealt with students sending nude or inappropriate photos. They need to realize that their actions could result in felony charges. Um, and when it comes to the photos, they also need to realize that once on the internet, it's always on the internet, and that they'll never go away. And it can be very damaging for the rest of their lives as a victim or as a suspect. Sending it and possessing it could be a crime, and they could face jail time.
Are threats made online treated differently than threats made in person?
Treated differently, no, but investigated differently, absolutely. If it's an online threat, we will have to get subpoenas, through the social media apps, wherever it is, Snapchat, Facebook, or whatever it is that they were using in the crime. We'd have to get subpoenas to get the records for that and get IP addresses and all kinds of stuff. It's a lot harder to investigate than it would be in face to face threat, because face to face threats, usually there's witnesses and we can interview witnesses along with victims and suspects. So treated differently, no, but investigated differently, absolutely.
What's the most meaningful interrogation you have had with a student?
Interrogation or interaction?
Interaction, my bad.
I figured you meant interaction because I can't talk about interrogation, so I was hoping you meant interaction. Uh, there was I didn't know it at the time how important this was, but I was over at the elementary school and I was in the special education room. There's a little girl there that has I'm going to say issues with males. She don't feel comfortable around males, and she don't talk a lot. So the teacher um, tried to use me to break that, and I didn't realize that's what was happening. She was on the computer playing a game, and the girl was stuck in the game. And the teacher said, "Well, see if Officer Coffman can help you." And she allowed me to do that. So I helped her, and she was so excited about it. And again, I didn't know what was going on at the time. I didn't realize it until I noticed that the teacher was really excited that this happened because she don't do that. And so now that girl has become like my little buddy. And one after that, we were in the cafeteria. They were at lunch, so I sat down next to her and visited with her. And she was wearing some sunglasses, and I had my sunglasses on top of my head. She just kept looking at my sunglasses and just staring at them. So I asked her, I said, "You want to trade?" And she said, "Yeah." So I handed her my sunglasses. She gave me hers. So we wore each other's sunglasses. And I want to tell you, my little girl's sunglasses were pink and the lenses looked like flowers. So there's a picture out there on the school website. I'm pretty sure of me wearing those sunglasses. But that was pretty meaningful to me to realize that I was able to help that girl. And now she's my buddy. So try to find that picture. You'll enjoy it, I'm sure.
I don't know if there's any more like questions or anything. There's none left on the
There's
document
none
I
left
had.
on your list,
Yeah.
but you don't have any. Is that what you're telling me?
Yep.
Okay. So I know you were doing the interview here, Richard, but I want to ask you a question. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Why did you pick me?
You were the top person. You were the first
I was
person said.
I was the top person, so you didn't really care. You just picked the top person.
I wanted to interview. Well, no, you were the second pick.
Oh, I was second pick. You're not making things better for yourself here, Richard. You're killing me. Well, I just want you to remember that I said yes. That's all I got for you, Richard.